a specific public comment session for which you requested to join. Speakers will be recognized in the order their requests are received. Members of the public can join us at the podium. Speakers virtually or in person have up to 3 minutes to address the board on any topic that they desire. Please give us your name, where you're from, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Is there anybody wishing to join us for public comment? Good, welcome.
Hi, I'm Andrea McCubbin and I'm from Galesburg. I'm also the president of Kalamazoo County 4-H Leaders Council. And Kevin, I've got, I guess, some information to hand out. I just want to formally invite the commissioners, Kevin, Lou, to the 4-H Showcase. It's about a month away. Starts August 4th. I gave one to Jeff, so if anyone wants extra, I have some with me after the meeting. But there's also attached the Michigan Association of Fair and Exhibition and Michigan Fun joined forces together and put one brochure of all the festivals and the fairs in the state of Michigan. So that's also attached. The half sheet flyer that I've given you doesn't have all the times for the shows. We've moved them around a little bit since then. That was published, so you can go to the website for Kalamazoo County 4-H and get the specific show times if you so desire. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Andrea. Is there anyone else which was wishing to make public comment, or anyone online?
Chair, there is no hands raised.
Thank you so much. Right, seeing no others, we will close our public comment. We'll move to item 3, review of accounts payable and our payroll disbursements with our finance director, Mr. Ryan Post. Welcome, Director.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Vice Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. We have an accounts payable claims list totaling $3,668,462.02. It's presented for review. Of this total, the Board of Commissioners asked to approve claims totaling $3,360,363.65. Payroll disbursements totaling $4,309,406.75 are presented for the June 20th and general and June 30th elected payrolls. We welcome any questions from the board.
Thank you, Director. Do we have any questions? Nice and tidy yet again. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay, we'll move to item 4. We're going to have the Household Hazardous Waste Center feasibility study presentation. I'd like to welcome our health officer, Jim Rutherford, and Planning and Development Director, Rachel Grover. Welcome.
Thank you. And Director Rutherford will join us shortly. I'll get started. So thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Vice Chair and Vice Chair Pro Tem, and Commissioners. And thank you for your patience as the study was completed. Also, I wanted to recognize Environmental Health Division Manager Lucas Poles is here with us, and there was a big team that spent a lot of time on this. Manager Poles, HHW Center Manager Jennifer Kozak, Health Officer Rutherford, Deputy Director Lenz, and then our consulting team at RRS, especially Kristen Wieland. Kristen spent many years at the Department of Public Works in Kent County and working with household hazardous waste specifically. So it's very good to have her as part of our consulting team. So next slide, Dina. So I just wanted to get right to the point here. Next steps, really. There are 4 reports that were provided to you in the packet that our consultants pulled together. Really, the next step is to find a property. And the report recommends a minimum of 2 acres for current operations, but really looking at research in other communities, they're closer to 12 acres. So I think 12 acres would be the recommendation. So that would be step 1. And the current location is great, centrally located in the county, But there's other reasons that it may not be the best location in the Parks Department and, you know, for other reasons. So, and also to get 12 acres at that location will be sort of a challenge. So really we need to look for 12 acres that allows access to the site for trucks that come in to help with the disposal and customers that are coming in. So that's, you know, properly signed where everyone should go, parking for the visitors to the center, the staff for the center. And then the next step would be to utilize, the Board of Commissioners has already approved $250,000 for capital funding for a new HHW facility design. So I think that would be locate and purchase or obtain property and then move forward with designing what the new site should look like. Dina, can you move to the actually next slide? So I just wanted to touch on two parts of the 4 reports for this presentation today, given our time constraints. The current facility limitations, so you can really see that this is really a critical need that we need to get them in order to continue operating and operate efficiently with current services, that a new facility is needed. But I wanted to look at future design considerations and then potentially some additional added material down the road that might be considered. So next slide, please. This is just showing some photos of the kind of inefficiencies currently. You can see that they're waiting for a disposal truck to come and get several boxes in right next to the facility. I think that was for electronics. And then you can kind of see, but back in the far back is also at the same time, the oil truck was coming to handle the disposal for motor oil. So that is, you know, challenging staging and storage for the facility. In the lower photo, that was 6 days of collection of chemicals from people's, you know, pesticide and those types of use from households. There's another 24 days before the next pickup. So that is going to be overfilled quickly. That was fastly filling up. So it had only been 6 days since the pickup. And the other slide is just showing there's only one covered spot for a vehicle as people come to do the drop off. And it takes it's not a long time. They're pretty efficient, but it takes a few minutes to, you know, see what material they're bringing in and to unload cars. The safety limitations, this kind of illustrates the left side. There is not a direct site view of this from the main part of the HHW Center into this piece that was added on later. So it's hard for the people in the offices or staff to see to the other parts of the facility, which is not really the best safety practices. And then the HVAC system is located outside and is sorely needed replacement. The thresholds between connecting locations are challenging to get pallets of material over. So that would be something to consider in the new design. Next slide, please. This is a picture of the break room, and you could see what that issue already is. There's the HVAC, another part of HVAC system there, and where they're storing cleaning chemicals and so on. So there's not really a good break area and there's not a meeting space either. That's we did meet in Director or Manager Kozak's office for consultants, so it's very cramped in there to have meeting space. Next slide, please. So this shows the current existing facility in less than 0.6 acres in the red outlined area. And then the blue area actually is not HHW. That little blue box is actually the visitor bathrooms for the Expo campground. So it's not part of the HHW Center. I wanted to kind of highlight that's not for use by the HHW Center. So under 0.6 acres, the fencing and gates in the community survey that was given, and participants expressed just concern of the signage, fencing. It was a little intimidating. They weren't sure where to go. I don't know if that's true for everyone, but there was some of that expressed in the community survey. There's limited parking. There's definitely limited access for disposal trucks to come in or to store material, even outside material that can be stored outside. Next slide, please. Actually, you can go, I think, one more. Okay, so I wanted to touch on, this is the current participation rate. So you've seen that there has been steady growth, a little bit of a decline during COVID. And then the bottom graph shows the weights of material that was collected and disposed of. So that is material that is thankfully not making it to the landfill, should not make it to the landfill. It's dangerous to go into a landfill. So next slide. So that's the historic. So the future through 2050 shows the population estimates, looking at population estimates. So we're expecting some growth in population, and then would also anticipate, just for current services, an increase in the amount of materials collected, in the weights of material collected. These are just some pictures of some other HHW facilities and recycling facilities around the country that I think kind of illustrate, you know, this one has, the top one has really clear signage and is safe for visitors visiting the facility, knowing where to go. The current center has a swap shop. They'd like a little more access to the swap shop. It's like if somebody brought in a full unopened container of a pesticide, somebody else could come in and use that pesticide, you know, as an example. Spray paint is one I think that they used to take. Lucas might correct me on that, but the new facility should have definitely improved storage and staging areas, clear and welcoming signage, like I said, improved lighting and outdoor lighting. Next slide, please. I think this one illustrates, this is in Florida, this illustrates definite good access for your disposal trucks to come in. You could potentially store some trailers if you needed to store trailers longer term. And there's buffer zone around the center. Locating a site with 12 acres will allow for safer and efficient operations, plus allow for future population growth and collection needs. I know probably 20 years ago when the facility was added onto, they were not considering the need to collect lithium-ion batteries, highly flammable material. So as technologies change, there's a needed change. So I really think having at least 12 acres would give the community what the community needs are. We could move a little quicker if we needed to for material types, if there were changes in technologies that needed to be kept out of the landfill. So for the next part, I wanted to just hit on a little bit of what the survey looked at. What might additional materials could the facility consider once we've built a facility that can do existing operations? What are some additional materials that might help in the materials management planning process? As you guys are aware, as you are all aware, the Materials Management Planning Committee has been looking at the simplest ways to enhance the waste infrastructure in the community, and what are some of the low-hanging fruit that might be able to add so that we're meeting diversion goals. So the state has a goal of recycling rate of 30% by 2030, and then really they had it was at 45% by 2030. They're not going to hit that. So 2030 now is 30%, but 45% is the overall goal. So the county, currently the state is at 25%. So they're making some improvements. It was at 23% a couple of years ago. So there's slow improvement, but there's additional materials that could be easy to keep out of the landfill. So what could that look like? Next slide, please. And some of the materials from the community survey and the municipal interviews that were done, styrofoam is a top one. The city of Kalamazoo had very successful events. They are running out of space and are looking at options for trying to expand that. Latex paint is not one we can currently take, but there's definitely vendors that can take it. There's a vendor from Ohio that can take it. So that would be one that could be an easy add, but there has to have temperature control. So that is not available right now. There's no space actually in temperature control currently. Mattresses, appliances, a lot of different items could be easy items to add. Next slide. So this is just a photo of a foam densifier that might might help meet one of those goals. Several communities across the country have these. It densifies it into smaller material that's easier to ship. And there's actually a lot of uses for recycled foam. So right now, I think the last collection for the city of Kalamazoo was 3.5 trailers. So the very large pieces of the EPS foam take up a lot of space. So you could really probably get, if you densified it first, you could get that 3.5 trailers down to maybe 1 trailer. So I don't know the exact, ratio, but it's quite small. They're like small blocks that come out on the other side. Next slide, please. And then Trex is another one. They are looking for communities to have a baler that bales plastic film, and boat wrap is another one. Plastic film that you drop off your bags sometimes to recycle at Meyer, the plastic grocery bags. They actually use that for Trex decking, and they're building another facility, so they really need plastic film. So that's actually a commodity. If we could potentially get grants for a baler, we could sell the bales of plastic film. So those seem like low-hanging fruit and a easy to operate material that could be added to an HHW center. However, we do need to look at what are the other communities doing, and are we just repeating what they're doing, or can we collaborate together? There are some communities that have talked to their cities. Western Washtenaw County has cited their recycling facility in the city of Chelsea on one of their properties for 6 townships that requested that, requested the help of their County Board of Public Works to site a facility, and they talked to their city to do that. So there might be collaboration here that could be a possibility as well. There's also many grants for infrastructure right now. So could we add some materials that would be helpful for HHW? That's another consideration. And again, what are the next technologies that might need to be added to the HHW site? So I wanted to bring Health Officer Rutherford up to also add some comments.
Thank you. And Director Grover was just being generous when she put my name on this presentation, because she did most of the lift here. But I do want to, again, thank her for the time and energy that she's put into this, as well as from my team, Lucas Poles. Really what I want to do is just emphasize the gratitude from HCS towards administration and towards the commissioners for kind of moving this pan to hopefully a front burner. We've talked about this for quite some time. I think that through the pictures, it really tells a story. If you haven't had a chance to visit the facility, I'm sure most of you have, grab some stuff that you want to get out of your garage or your basement and head over to Lamont Street. You'll recognize a very well run facility that is really outgrown its current existence. And that's a good problem to have, because it's a very successful program. And decades ago, when your predecessors decided to, take that step and do something that most counties didn't do at that time, and most counties haven't done to date, is significant. And we've always been cutting edge in Kalamazoo County. I encourage you to, continue with that philosophy, with, the vision of something bigger, better. Several months ago, my staff came to you, Lucas's staff came to you and talked about groundwater contamination, and what can we do what can you do as a body of commission, what can we do as public health officials to limit and mitigate, certain things that have happened, in just about every community our size. All communities our size have contamination, but this is an example of you stepping forward and saying, we're going to continue to support this type of work. It's important. It's keeping dangerous products out of our groundwater. It's recycling. It's exciting to see the potential for the city of Kalamazoo wanting to do some hopeful expansion and hopefully some collaboration, because I envision a 12-acre, parcel would allow for not only our expansion at HHW, but another expansion or another, undertaking that's going to pick up some of those items, tires, styrofoam, mattresses. If you've ever tried to get rid of a mattress, it's next to impossible. So that's why you see some of that stuff just dumped in the woods. And hopefully, this type of opportunity for the community will address that. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for your time.
And I also wanted to, I'm glad he said that, the current operation is, they are really well run. This is not, any, saying anything bad about the current HHW. It's just that it is at its maximum capacity. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. So what questions do you have? I know I didn't touch on a couple of the reports, but.
Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for this presentation. I'm a huge fan of household hazardous waste. I think it is just a great, not only a great governmental collaboration opportunity with all the local townships that are contributing. I do have a couple questions. I know that we, at least in the past, I'm not sure if we still do, had municipalities outside the county that were contracted with this household hazardous waste. Would they continue to contract with the system if we were to build it?
Yes, and actually I think they just picked up another county,
Berry County.
Berry County. Just
All of Berry County?
yes, all of Berry County.
Oh, wow.
It's in portions of St. Joe County and all of Berrien County, I believe.
And a little bit of Van Buren. I think
And
you
some
have.
townships in Van Buren County.
Mhm.
So the materials management planning process is also encouraging ways to collaborate with your neighbors. So that's definitely part of the conversation for sure. Kalamazoo could almost, be that kind of
That
hub in
hub.
the spoke, right?
And that's kind of where I was going with that. I am in favor of the 12 acres in the larger facility just because it allows us that opportunity to just not only expand or not only just have a collaboration with our local townships, but kind of reach out and beyond. My question had to do when you had a graph up there with potential use or use in years that are coming down the road. Was there any thought of what that would look like if we were to put advertising dollars into it? I know that a lot of people still don't know that this place exists.
That was part of the conversation. So that was specifically not that if there was a more robust advertising program,
Mhm.
including, what ways could we encourage? There's also a lot of things that we've been talking about with how can we collaborate with other departments, including seniors. There's homebound seniors that have trouble getting materials to the, so what ways could we collaborate? That would definitely increase the numbers and the amount collected for sure, and the participation. That has not been done yet, and that was not part of. They specifically stated that they did not include that a robust advertising program. So
And-
they would expect those numbers to be higher if there was a robust reaching out.
And I am certainly in favor of a robust advertising program to do that. I am also in favor of building a larger facility so that we can accomplish those goals. I had a quick question on the site at the current Lamont Street. With adding on, we can't get like 8 to 10 or 12. We can't get 12 acres with that current facility site. I guess that's the case.
Very limited. Yeah.
Okay.
That would involve more conversations, I think, with some other departments too.
And then and I tried to go through, there was a few different reports. I was looking for, is there a sort of a guesstimate on how many square footage and what it would cost per square foot for this type of facility versus
We didn't have that. And I don't know I'm not sure if maybe administration is aware or if I don't think the facility master plan looked at that yet, or it was part of that
just
scope.
need?
So
Okay.
that would definitely be in the site plan, I think, process.
Okay. I guess it just comes down to a planning, and I also saw that there were different public acts that you could be used to do this. I am in favor of expanding the facility. I'm in favor of advertising for that facility, so members of the community know it exists. And I'm also in favor of not doing a millage to pay for it. We have the cash in our capital program that we can do this, and rest assured to the community out there, we can expand our recycling, reduce the amount that we're putting into our landfills, and not raise their taxes. I think that's just a win-win on all fronts. So you have my full support.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. As I work, we want to work with you folks on this. Obviously, Vice Chair has expressed a great deal of interest. Obviously, we have to site this in a place that's safe because we are dealing with hazardous materials. Probably our fairgrounds is not the best spot for that to be. So I am very much in support of finding a much better spot. The collaboration we have with our many different communities. Many of the townships and villages and cities already participate in the hazardous waste by their contributions to the facility during the year, and their people are allowed to come and bring their materials. Obviously, we're seeing that this is far exceeding its capacity. So I think we need to move expeditiously and locate a spot and then get the facilities that are more adequate and be that hub as we work through this and our materials handling kind of they're almost partners in this type of thing, because we eliminate by getting stuff to the house as hazardous waste and reduce the amount going into the landfills, which is gold and the requirement now by the state of Michigan for all the counties in the state of Michigan to make sure this happens. So I thank you for the presentation and the work you're doing on this, and I look forward to working further to make this happen expeditiously.
All right, I have just one, and most of my questions Vice Chair elevated. So I also am in support of the concept here. I think just a comment thinking about some of the more recent property acquisitions or property design. I really want us to be mindful about long-term growth. I mean, as you've elevated, we didn't know lithium batteries would be a major component of waste handling, and we don't know, what will be in the future. And so we do need to be able to be nimble. And when we're talking about the groundwater exclusion zones and PFAS and other items that have contaminated, portions of our groundwater, it's really incumbent on us to make sure that we're preventing any and all of that we can, because once it's down there, the ability to recover or to clean up or to even, estimate the sort of public health impacts it will have, we just can't know. So best is for us to be diligent and keep it clean to begin with. So I encourage the community, this sort of advertising campaign, I think, would be very important. That would be something I would want to see us prioritize and understand all of our community members who might be seeing and hearing to take advantage of not just hazardous waste disposal opportunities, but recycling opportunities in your local jurisdiction and in your community. These things, lessen the overall impact. There are some goals for utilization across the state. Where are we right now for utilization?
On the materials management plan, that committee is collecting the information. There's 4 parts of the plan. We're looking at what is our current existing diversion rate, which is a little bit of a challenge to gather, but we're working on the where we are currently and putting together our goals. So that has been part of it. That committee is working on the goals portion. What are some of those things that that committee would like to put forward as potential diversion activities that could assist?
When was the last time we evaluated that conversion rate? How far back? Have we ever quantified it?
No. And
Okay.
part of that is how materials are collected. It's really, we have private haulers that collect material and across jurisdictions. So it's hard for counties to specifically get it. There's new rules in place for how they report that information. So we should do a pretty good job. I don't think when we're looking at all of our numbers, I think we're pretty close to what the state's rate is. I think we have a pretty good participation in some programs, but there's definitely room for improvement in areas where we could improve.
Great. Well, I look forward to hearing once we get that
hopefully
completed.
in the fall, we should start to have some of that
Okay.
data available. So.
Great. Thank you for your efforts on that. Director Poles, did you have some information that you wanted to share with us as well?
No, I was just really here for questions. You guys laid out some really good points. Talked about advertising. I'm huge on advertising. And we have it within our contracts to advertise through municipalities, but it's not large enough to do what I'd love to do, where you're talking about billboards
Yeah.
and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I wholeheartedly like
And,
that
and
idea.
honestly, I'm a little nervous if we did too robust advertising campaign right
Right
now. I'm
now,
not sure they
yeah.
can handle
Yeah.
the extra material. So,
Yeah,
I
and-
mean, it'd be great, but
And Jennifer and I have recently done some basically traveling around the state to look at a couple of the places that have been built, and one in Washington has been built recently, and they outgrew it almost immediately.
Right.
And you can just see it by walking up. It's like what HHW probably was 30 years ago, and they had to expand and expand. You just don't want to do that because you end up with all these accessory buildings and everything. So I'm really looking for, and I think we've got a really set where we've got these decades of, we kind of know what we need, and we can extrapolate out and go from there. So
Yeah, I encourage that. I think that's really important. So thank you. Thank you all for the presentation today. All right. Okay, that brings us to other items. We're gonna have some discussion around the housing millage scoring process. Director Balkema.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. My name is Mary Balkema. As you know, the portal is open for funding for the 2025 housing millage. We have 3 categories of funding opportunities: multifamily, creative, and supportive services. Keeping in the spirit of transparency and best practice, it is a recommendation to set up an ad hoc committee of commissioners to score the projects. The portal closes on July 3rd, 2025, so we would like to score them during the month of July and have the recommended action before you in August. Chair, the recommended action is for you to determine if the board would like full participation or the formation of an ad hoc committee.
Thank you, Director Balkema. So commissioners, what is the desire of the body? Do we all want to weigh in? Do we have individuals that would express a desire to participate in the ad hoc committee? Commissioner Morales?
If the masses want to all weigh in, I'm with that, but if not, I would like to be a part of the ad hoc committee.
Commissioner Wheeler?
Thank you, Chair. If we do an ad hoc, I'd also like to be a part of it.
See Morales, Wheeler, and Ray so far, and DeLu.
No, I actually just
Oh,
the
you
opposite.
have a comment? Yes, please. Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm in favor of the ad hoc committee because I know there's people in this board that are much more in tune to the needs than I am. And I always have a difficult time scoring, trying to keep various aspects in mind of what's out there needed for the community. But I know there's people in this board that know, and I'd like to leave it in the hand of the experts. And I do not want to be on the ad hoc committee.
Okay. Commissioner DeLu, Vice Chair Taylor.
Yeah, I think the ad hoc committee, what we did with the senior millage with Wendy and John worked well, Commissioner Kistler. I've got no problem with the ad hoc committee. I would like to make a recommendation, Chair Strebs, that you serve on it. I think you're pretty in tune with the housing. I think I would feel comfortable with an ad hoc committee as long as you served on it.
Thank you, Vice Chair. As I read that whole book last time and was grilling them over all the details. Vice Chair Pro Tem, did you have anything to add?
Thank you, Chair. I'd be willing to help with that if necessary.
Commissioner Mazer.
Yes, I too am supportive of that. I wouldn't mind being on it, but it sounds like it's pretty full already, so.
No, you can be on it.
You certainly can. I mean, anyone who's interested in participation. So I do think at this time, looks like by consensus, we'll move forward with the formation of ad hoc. So I'm seeing Ray, Wheeler, Morales, Hepler. Yes, Commissioner Mazer, I would like to participate also. So you're going to still have most of us.
I love that. And we have scoring sheets. And so when we meet, we will make it as transparent as possible and simple. And I will send out, when the portal closes, the applications to everyone. If you're having trouble or you cannot get in it or any technical difficulties, we'll go over it in the meeting and you'll have the scoring sheets available. I would ask if any of the respondents contact you that you send them back to staff so we can get all the questions, so the process is fair. But the minute that it closes, I will send you all of the applications. And so you'll be getting quite a few emails. It doesn't mean you have to read them in detail. It just means that you've received them, right? And then I will have a scoring matrix on every single category for everyone.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, so we're not gonna get any dollar bills with their face on it. And I'm gonna change my vote. I'm just joking.
That was pretty creative, you have to admit.
Commissioner Morales?
Thank you, Chair. Director Balkema,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Loving the hair.
Thank you.
So I have some questions on this go round. I've had some issues with some of our elders in the area trying to get into affordable housing. And as you know, I've always, the affordable homes for all, it's just too blank for me. And so I've been running into a lot of the 40, 50, 60% units being taken up. And I understand that there are, costs associated with taking care of the buildings, paying staff and all those things. But when we think about those units, for example, someone I know was at 31,000 and that was their annual disability. And so the 40 or 50% weren't up, all those units have been taken. And they said, well, what we have available for you, and they offered a $1,300 unit. That's suicide for $31,000 a year. I was even appalled that they would even offer someone that. So in this next go round, I just want to make sure that, even though we're following HUD, MSHDA guidelines, that we have more 30, 40% units. I mean, 530 Rose is doing an excellent job having half and half, but some of these other entities, they're running out too quick, and we need to make that a priority. One, for our elderly population who are transitioning from their homes into this more assisted type living, but also we know that in the area, people are just not getting raises. They might get their annual raise, but they're not getting the cost of living raise. And so apartment complexes are jumping from, what used to be $25 and $50 to $100 extra. Nobody's getting a $100 raise, right? So I want us to really be mindful of scoring and who we consider with developers, with what they're going to use as far as capacity with 30, 40, and 50%. Even 60% is a lot. But we need some more 30 and 40% affordable units if we're truly going to house folks and not leave people struggling from paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, thanks, Commissioner Morales. Those points are well taken. And, the Mount Zion project, we have vouchers to keep those rents very affordable. And so that's one project that I did want to lift up that's under construction right now. And to your point, we met with a developer yesterday where all the those low-income units are taken, and there's 100% full, but the 80% units are still open. So there is a need, and in every single housing development that we have, those lower income units are full, and there's a demand, and they do fill it fast. So thanks for lifting that up, and it's a real thing. So.
Thank you as well, Commissioner Morales. To that point, as you elevate developers with 80% units, what does it take to fill those in a way that becomes affordable? So we are vouchering some other properties. I've advocated that we have developers willing to accept vouchers on their units. I encourage deep dialogue, especially for properties which we've invested to be open to taking people with vouchers or supporting additional vouchers through our housing millage. I also want to inquire that the scoring matrices we looked at last year, I had provided some feedback at the time. And so there were a number of areas in which we were ranking applications, affordability being one of them. And an application that had, maybe units affordable at the 60% AMI, which is really an average in the community. You know, it's a confusing number used by Mishta where we're using this area median income, but that 60% AMI is really the average worker. So more than half of people in our community are making less money than that. So really, when we're looking at affordable units at 50, 40, 30, that's half of the community in need of those units. So my point to the scoring matrix, there were, you know, the highest affordability did not earn the highest amount of points in the prior matrix. So I'm wondering, have we, you know, considered that feedback and adjusted so that units that have more affordability receive more scoring? And I'd also like to see prioritized, you know, when we're funding projects that have no low income units in them, that's a tough consideration for this board. I mean, we really need to be advancing those low income units. And so I want to see within the scoring criteria that heavily rewarded and encouraged. And we don't have as many dollars this time. We've committed quite a bit of the resources for this cycle already. So we have just over $2 million here for people to vie for this time. And if they want a successful application, come forward to us with a plan about addressing significant affordability if they want our support.
Thanks for that feedback, Chair. On a final note, thank you for your deliberations, and our 2024 annual report is hot off the press and at your dais for your reading pleasure. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Balkema. Right. Okay, that brings us to item 6 is closed session. Do we have any this evening? All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our committee of the whole. Without objection, we are adjourned.
I think you can. Someone will kind of run out here, but let's start with the. This is our. Whatever that means. Yeah, like these guys. Yeah. Oh. You saw that? Yes.
good evening. I'm going to call to order the July 1st, 2025 Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting. Our first item is item number 1, and Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler has agreed to lead us in that this evening.
Thank you, Chair. Please stand. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. And as we are getting closer to the birthday of this great nation that has given us the many blessings and many opportunities to do for our community, our friends, our family, our nation, and our country, and our world. Please watch over us, watch over our friends and family, watch over our community, guide them in doing the right things and providing for their families, their friends, and for their community. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Thank you, Commissioners. We'll go to item 3, which is call of the roll. Clerk.
Commissioner Mazer,
Here.
Commissioner Morales,
Present.
Commissioner Ray, Chair Strubs,
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor, Commissioner Wheeler,
Here.
Commissioner DeLu,
Here.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
here.
8 present.
Good, thank you for that. We'll move forward to item number 4. We have proclamations. First, we have item 2025-398, request for approval of the Summer Learning Day proclamation for 2025. Moved by Commissioner Ray, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We will go to item 5, communications. We have item 2025-729. We received a Washtenaw County resolution, item 25-123, opposing the MDHHS plan for the competitive procurement for health plans. I will just, I'm going to speak to that briefly. We'll have some comments later to share about looming Medicaid cuts. This resolution we've received from Washtenaw is through basically the administrative rulemaking function and state government that really poses a risk to our public mental health sector. It opens a competitive process for the oversight of community mental health service programs in the state, and none of the organizations which administer that function, which are private or public entities at this time, are able to participate in the procurement process. So this opens up the opportunity for nonprofit privatization of our public mental health system, and that changes the nature potentially of how our community mental health programs work, and I fear will have a very negative effect on the people that rely on public mental health services. So thanks you to Washtenaw County for lifting up that issue to us. All right, I'll go to item number 6 is approval of minutes. Item 2025-755, approval for the June 17th draft committee of the whole and regular meeting minutes. Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor and supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll go now to item 7 for approval of the agenda.
Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Our agenda is set. Item 8 is for presentations. We have none at this meeting tonight. Item 9 is for public hearings. There are also none this evening. It takes us to item 10. This is our first opportunity in this session for public comment. This can be made in person or by phone. If you are participating with us virtually, you will call 855-925-2801, enter meeting code 10748, and press *3 to join the speaker queue. Callers may request to join the speaker queue at any time during the whole meeting, but before our final public comment period has ended. You'll be permitted to speak during the public comment session for which you requested to join. If you wish to speak during both, you may press *3 again after the first session concludes. Speakers will be recognized in the order that their requests are received. Whether you join us virtually or in person, please share your name, where you're from. You have up to 3 minutes to address the board on a topic of your choice in a respectful manner. Do we have anybody wishing to make a public comment? Do we have anyone online?
Chair, we do not.
Thank you, Dina. All right, seeing and hearing none, the only public comments we had were the comments about public comment. And we'll go on. Let's go to item 11 is our consent agenda items.
Chair, I move that we vote on all consent agenda items at one time and be considered a consent agenda by the board.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there any further discussion? I'll just elevate, I still really don't like that we don't read the consent agenda, and I wish we were doing that. So if you pull up our agendas online, you can read what we're voting on. It is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 items. All right, with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, sorry, thank you. I try to do that every time. Clerk, please call a roll. Thank you.
Commissioner, excuse me, Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Stribbs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, Clerk. That motion carries. All right, we'll go to item 12. This is for unfinished business and general orders. So here we have item 2025-740. So request for approval of the resolution to authorize Administrator Controller to enter into contract negotiations with the City of Kalamazoo to form the Kalamazoo County Event Center Assessment District Authority.
Chair, I'll make that motion to approve a resolution to authorize Administrator Controller to enter into contract negotiations with the City of Kalamazoo to form the Kalamazoo County Event Center Assessment District Authority.
Thank you. Motion is made by Vice Chair, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. We'll open for discussion. Vice Chair.
Thank you. And this is probably more of a comment to our Administrator Controller. Complete total faith in your ability. I just would like, as you enter into those contract negotiations, you put the as many of the purchasing policies and the building policies that we can follow from the county as possible. Thank you.
Any further discussion? I will concur with that. We want to see a open, competitive process as we move forward to a construction phase later. All right, all those in favor, we're going to call a roll on this vote, actually. Clerk, please call a roll.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Stribbs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, that motion carries. We'll go forward to new business. Item 13, item 2025-756. This is a request for approval for the Board of Commissioners to 1, suspend our board bylaws, 2, to remove Commissioner Ray from the Land Bank Authority at her request, 3, to approve the appointment of Vice Chair Taylor to the Land Bank Authority, and 4, to approve appointment of Commissioner Ray as our Commissioner Liaison to the Land Bank Authority. This here will be suspending our bylaws will require a 2/3 vote of the body in order to do this, and I would entertain this motion.
Yeah, make the motion.
Yes, please.
I would like to make the motion for 2025-756 to suspend the bylaws, remove Commissioner Ray from the Land Bank, approve the appointment of Vice Chair Taylor to the Land Bank Authority, and approve the appointment of Tammy Ray as Commissioner Liaison to the Land Bank Authority.
Thank you. A lot of steps to that, all 1 through 4. So motion is made by Vice Chair Pro Tem and supported by Commissioner Ray. Is there discussion? Commissioner Morales.
So this is my first time hearing something like this. This is only suspending just for this action, correct?
That is correct. So
Okay.
once the vote is taken, the bylaws are reinstated.
Okay, I just wanted to put that on record.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Any further discussion? Good. All right, with that, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler, 8 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. And thank you both to Vice Chair Taylor and Commissioner Ray for your ongoing service with the Land Bank Authority and the important work that they're doing and in your new roles there. Okay. Next, we go to item 2025-741. This is a request for authorization for County Administrator to enter into negotiations with Family Promise Incorporated to provide residential shelter and housing-focused case management at the landing place.
Chair, I would make that motion.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor and supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Is there any discussion? All right,
Sorry.
thank you, Vice Chair.
I think this is a tremendous opportunity for our administrator. I'm going to wish him a happy birthday later. But this has the potential to be a huge model of a public-private partnership that can work throughout the state. And I've got full faith in this guy is going to, we're going to get it done. And I think we're going to do some really, really cool things with some of the least fortunate in our community. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, Family Promise.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I think it is important, we've been trying to advance solutions for folks who are unhoused. Today, we advance a provider that will help administer the services at the landing place. We're hopeful for tremendous success for the lives of the families that this will serve for a long time, and to be a model for our local community too, about how when we work together and we believe in the value of other people, we can support each other to succeed and to stabilize. This is really important that we've accomplished today. Thank you to the whole board, your advocacy while we debated over how to advance this project, and there's a lot to be thankful for in getting this to the finish line today. All right, with that, we can go with a voice vote here. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? That motion carries. Commissioner Morales.
Okay, under new business, gonna try this again. I'd like to make a motion that the board go back to reading the consent agenda aloud.
Thank you. Motion made by Commissioner Morales and supported by Vice Chair Wheeler. I'm sorry. Just so used to saying it over and over in the meeting. You never know though, right? Commissioner Wheeler, thank you. All right, is there discussion? Commissioner Morales.
Yes, I just feel like since we moved the time back to 6:30, the meeting is, we're going through it as Pro Tem Hepler says expeditiously. And then I feel like we spend more time on personal feelings as opposed to conducting business for the county. So that's my main reason. And yes, it's online, but there are still people who can't get to it online, and it's a lot to go through that packet. So I just feel like we should get back to reading it aloud. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. Any others? Vice Chair.
Yeah, I respect Commissioner Morales's intent here, and I could go along with reading the consent agenda, but what we're reading here on the consent agenda is only about 40%. Most of it goes through the administrator's agenda, and then it goes through our claims list. I mean, through the claims list is really where most of the stuff is coming from. I mean, the amendment to access the visitation grant with state court admitted office for friend of the court. I mean, those little tiny, I don't think that provides the transparency. If we're looking for transparency, I mean, I'd be happy to sit down and come up with a way that we can be more transparent in this process. But really, our claims list is where most of the stuff gets done, and nobody wants to read the 900 pages of how we're 800 pages of how we're spending every nickel and dime of county dollars. So I don't look at most of these as any sort of opening up of transparency process to the public. In my opinion, it's just a little bit of the fluff. And if you really want to get transparent of it, you got to dig through the claims list. But that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Madam Chair, the motion contemplates a change in procedure. This calls for a roll call vote. Thank you.
I appreciate that clarification. So, I'll add here, certainly some of the items that we will advance and read aloud in the consent agenda are benign or pretty perfunctory. But another example to elevate from our consent agenda tonight was that we accepted and we signed a multi-year general operations grant with the Kalamazoo Community Foundation for the Landing Place Family Shelter in the amount of $100,000 for 3 years, and authorized the administrator controller to sign the documents. So, there are some that are more mundane. We'll do housekeeping items. We'll do things that may not have much of an impact to read aloud. But we've exhausted our agenda. We've been here 20 minutes, So part of the rationale for not reading it, was to save time. And it doesn't take, this would maybe take a long consent agenda would take at the most 5 minutes to read. And people might not understand what it is we're talking about when we read through some of the items, but some of them they will. Right now, you have to go in and actually pull the documents up and read them, rather than being able to watch your Board of Commissioners discuss what it is they're doing. And we would provide more transparency on the claims list if we ask more questions about it. We can do that not just for our own understanding, but to elevate understanding for the community. And Vice Chair Taylor is very good about digging into that and asking questions. And so I agree with that. I mean, most of what we do is in the details of it is in our claims list. But I would support the change, as I stated. Thank you. Commissioner Morales, you have another? Please. Thank you, Commissioner Mazur.
Well, I don't support it. Going back to reading the consent agenda. And I also, this is no surprise, I really don't like adding things to the agenda that I didn't know about ahead of time. So, I'd like to get feedback, and I'd prefer to wait to vote on this.
Thank you for sharing that. Vice Chair?
Yeah, if we could table this to the next meeting, I may vote for it. if you want to wait. It's not going to make any difference now. We already passed the agenda. But I really, if we're going after transparency, and I'm 100% behind that, I don't think reading the consent agenda is anything more, but I think it's just a Band-Aid. I don't think it's really transparent, but that's my 2 cents.
Commissioner Morales.
So the last thing I was gonna say is when we do read it, I get more folks coming to me in the public saying, oh, you read this, what does this mean? Because they're not really reading through this. So I know for myself, I get more traction with conversations in the community when they're watching and they do this, even when they start watching it later. So if it's not a big deal, then let's put it back on the agenda. I mean, we're making this if it's not a big deal. And anyway, that's my 5 cents.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. Any further discussion? All right. I would agree. It is an opportunity for a little more dialogue. Okay, with that, we will call the roll.
Commissioner Morales.
Of course, yes.
Commissioner Ray.
Yes.
Chair Strubs.
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor. Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu.
Of course, no.
Commissioner Gissler. Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Commissioner Mazer.
No.
4 yes.
It's a 4. That motion ties, then it dies, so that motion fails. We did. I appreciate that, commissioners. Thank you so much. Okay, so with that, we'll come back to our final opportunity for public comment. Again, just to read the number virtually, members can chime in virtually by calling 855-925-2801 and dialing code 10748 and then pressing *3. You may also join us in public or virtually. If you do, please share your name and where you're from. And welcome to you for public comment. Hi.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Cruden. I am talking on behalf of Family Promise, and I just want to acknowledge the excitement that we have to enter negotiations regarding the family shelter at the landing place here in Kalamazoo. Many of you probably have started understanding a little bit more about who Family Promise is. And as a national organization, we have 200 locations throughout the United States. So we're just excited to bring that expertise, bring that deep care and commitment for communities, especially children and families, right? That they have a safe place to be. We're going to be able to really lean on that national network of not just people and locations, but of experience and training and advocacy work that we've been doing for 40 years nationally as an organization. And then more locally, West Michigan has a Family Promise that has been in operation for the last 30 years. I had the pleasure of serving there as their chief program officer for the last 13. And we've done some incredible things in opening really large shelters, really small shelters, partnering with our community, our local municipalities, and ensuring that families with children have access to all of their needs, their educational needs, their health needs, their physical, mental, emotional needs, and most importantly, safe, affordable housing. So we're really proud of that work. And then to get to do it here in Kalamazoo and bring that to our local level, using all of that experience, that deep commitment to making sure that every child has an opportunity to thrive. Every parent has an opportunity for safe place to land for that moment while they're trying to identify their next permanent housing location. We're excited to partner with Kalamazoo, provided this all continues to go in the way that we hope it does, and really, engage our community. That is what we're here for. So, we're a national organization, but we're here to partner with our friends in Kalamazoo to find out locally what your schools are doing, what your libraries are doing, right? What your other, feeding programs are doing, what your COC is doing. Find out where we can fit in, where we can collaborate, where we can bring maybe some of our expertise into that space. and be able to make sure that, you know, we're going to build an affiliate here in Kalamazoo that is local, that is, you know, who are the people doing the work that are excited to continue to make sure that the community of Kalamazoo cares for the youngest and the most vulnerable population. We know homelessness is impacting everyone, and from all the things that we can see and know that is happening nationally, it's not going to get any better anytime soon. So we need people like Kalamazoo who are willing, and the county of Kalamazoo, to open up an amazing space. I've had the pleasure of walking through it. I can't wait. I've opened up, you know, large shelters that same size. I've done COVID things where we've had 80 to 100 rooms used in a hotel during those few years that we had during the pandemic. And this is an exciting time for Kalamazoo, and Family Promise is honored to have a little part of that and make sure that our families and kids here are as supported as they should be. So on behalf of Family Promise, thank you. We are super excited to partner with you all and see what good work and what big impact we can have together. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Do we have anybody else wishing to make public comment? All right.
Chair, we don't have anybody online.
Thank you so much, Tina. All right, with that, we will close public comment. We'll move to our final, which is the reports of our officers, bodies, administrator, and controller. Pardon me. So we'll start off with the happiest news of tonight. So I think heard stated already, and I nearly forgot earlier, so shame on me. So happy birthday to Dr. Kevin Catlin. Yes. We're happy you're here celebrating with us. We're thankful to have you. A year of service, another year of service completed with you, and it's an honor every day to get to call you a colleague. I wish you a very happy birthday. All right. You know, we got our annual housing report. We're going to be in that scoring phase. I'm excited for our ad hoc committee to dig into that. I want to congratulate our housing department, advancing the work, looking at what we've accomplished over the last few years to helping us through this initial RFP process of both to Director Balkema and Ms. Toronto. Just stellar work from both of you, and we look forward to continuing to advance that with that deep focus on affordability for our lowest income community members. We also saw some moves at the federal level today that I'm sure folks you know, who are tuned into politics probably saw about already, but I am going to touch on it a little bit. So the Senate today, the tie-breaking vote from our current vice president passed the current administration's priority legislation through their reconciliation process. This now goes back to the House of Representatives for a final vote as they bring the two versions of that bill together. And so there is another opportunity for advocacy, and I don't want us to miss that opportunity or to give up on that opportunity. So locally, our representative in Congress is Representative Bill Huizenga. He has a local office here in Portage. He will welcome a visit from you, as his staff would as well. You can find that at 5228 Lovers Lane, Suite 108 in Portage, Michigan. The phone number to that office is 269-569-8595. You also can reach them on the Washington switchboard. You can reach him at his federal office and his staffers there. You might want to call them both. There you can reach them at 202-225-4401. Lots of talk about the impacts that the potential bill might have, and I'm just going to lift up just a couple of them. I've spent my life, my professional life, serving people with developmental disabilities and mental illnesses. And when I started in that work in the 90s, most of the people, the adults that I cared for, were individuals who earlier in their lives had been institutionalized. And they were now served in community-based settings. And I want to tell you what life for people who lived in state institutions was like a little bit, right? It'd be common to have a staff person to 60 individuals. And these are individuals who maybe cannot speak, cannot feed themselves, could not dress or walk or toilet themselves. And most of those skills they didn't have because of the severe deprivation that they suffered in institutional settings. If you're not familiar, there's a book called A Christmas in Purgatory. And I encourage you to Google that book. You'll take a brief look at some of the images of a blind child sleeping on concrete, naked, with no one there to interact with them, to care about them, to love them. Many of the adults that lived through decades like that of their lives were very challenging people to serve. They often had significant behavioral issues. They had fear and trauma and PTSD from a life lived in institutions. Over 50 years ago, President Kennedy launched the community mental health movement. And Medicaid funding through Medicaid waivers funds home and community-based services, where people might live in group homes. They might live in their own family home with their mom and dad the way they should grow up, and have staff support that can come in and help that child with autism gain skills. And they're integrated into schools, and they play with other children, and they have dreams. And they accomplish those dreams because the community saw their value, the humanity of them, and supported it. And I'll tell you, the folks that grew up in the community had a much bigger view of the world that they could live in. Dreams of jobs, of getting married, of having their own places. The same people that 50 years before would have been shivering in a corner and deeply traumatized for decades of their life. The bill before Congress is going to drastically cut Medicaid services, Medicaid funding by over $800 billion. And there is no way to accomplish that without deeply gutting the funding for the most vulnerable, for seniors in nursing care, for the disabled in community-based settings, for people with disabilities, rather. And that's such a shame. It's something that we'll be deeply ashamed of in the future. And we don't have to stand for it. And so I hope that we don't. So use your voice, don't give up, and fight back. The other thing I wanted to elevate from the legislation, which is much more draconian and very concerning, is the expansion of funding for immigration enforcement and border enforcement over I'm not going to remember the exact amount, a 700% increase to immigrations and customs enforcement, which will now receive more funding the entire Federal Bureau of Prisons. Now, when I say that, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, we incarcerate more people in the United States than any country on earth. And we just decided to compound that by 5. Your government decided to do that. I read advocacy groups, people who are helping with legal advocacy in ICE detention facilities, and they talked about how Individuals are being work camped, so they're incarcerated. They are still brought out into the field by the private for-profit prison that we pay to house them in. They're taken out into the fields on contract, could continue to do the labor they were doing out as a free person in the community, and they get paid $1 a day to do that work, and then they get to spend that dollar, the $5 they make for the week, and you know what they get to buy for that? A phone call to their family. So now instead of feeding their family as a free person, they get to cry on the phone to them for the $5 they earn for their back-breaking work. What a shame. Know what's done in your name. And I know 4 years of listening to me do this will be so tiring, and I'm so sorry, but we'll keep fighting until we win. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. We're doing exciting work at the land bank. We're doing exciting work with the building authority, working with our Dr. Catlin and our corporate counsel, getting a new responsible bidder contract policy that ensures that those that are paying taxes in our community will reap the benefits of the contracts awarded for these projects. I feel very strongly on that. Those that are living here and paying their millages here should have a leg up when it comes to bidding on some of these projects. Also, I'm so happy about this. I'm going to read it. It was another letter from Dr. Catlin of our undue medical debt. $2,485,000 of medical debt has been relieved and eliminated from Kalamazoo County residents' bills. They're no longer owed $2.5 million because of the actions that we took around this dais. And that's only going to grow. We are making people's lives better at a local level. And I think it's commendable to everybody here. And just like when we have a lot of different ideas, I think the collection of our ideas is better than any one individual's ideas when we come to this dais. And so I'm really, really, really proud of that. And then I'm going to end with the happy news. Happy birthday, Kevin.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to start with wishing Dr. Kaplan a happy birthday and many more to come. Appreciate all the hard work that you and your staff and our staff, or I should say our staff, it's our staff, and the hard work we're doing to make Kalamazoo a great place to live, work, and play. We've done a lot in our community. We've got a lot coming. We had a great presentation tonight about household hazardous waste. We're also looking at the things we're going to do to try to mitigate the amount of stuff we're sending to landfills and recycle it and bring it, make our Mother Earth a better place to live. So our staff is working on that. We've got committees that are working on these things. It's, again, what makes this county a great place to live, work, and play. As we're approaching the birthday of our nation, our 4th of July celebration, we need to reach out to all those that have served our country in the military and thank them for their duties, thank them for their service. Our police, our fire, our medical folks, all have, they strive during these hard times and keeping our communities a safe place and doing things. Please take a moment to tell them thanks for what they do. I want to wish everybody in our county and in our state to have a safe 4th of July and be with your families. Appreciate the times that we have together, and thank you. Have a good night.
Enjoy that vacation you're going to take. Administrator Kellen.
All right. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners, audience. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I really do appreciate it. And there isn't a place I'd rather be. No, I really do enjoy my job here. We have great staff, great board of commissioners, just a great team overall, great community. So happy to be here. I am my own worst enemy, and so I do have to go to birthday dinner after this. So, but I do have some things to share with the board and the community and a public service announcement from HCS. So, just really quick, want to highlight some emergency management coordination and exercises that we've been planning. So, Director Janes has been really strengthening coordination efforts with our local partners, community partners, been actively working on scheduling tabletop exercises across the county. The next one is scheduled actually with the city of Portage on July 10th, and it'll focus on refining emergency response strategies and interagency communication. Additionally, she's working with the Texas Charter Township Fire Department to begin kind of just providing an overview of the county's response framework and our communications protocols during severe weather events. And we plan on compiling all of that information to share with all townships so that everyone has consistent information, as well as all of our other local partners and so on and so forth. So the outreach is really vital for us to build community readiness and ensure municipalities are aligned with the county's emergency response protocols and standards. Next look at our next topic is budget process and kind of the state's fiscal outlook. So as a reminder, the budget retreat is scheduled July 29th from noon to 5:30 rather in room B at the Expo Center. We'll be presenting the comprehensive update on the county's financial standing, current budget pressures, and alignment with our strategic priorities. A particular note this year, I wanted to highlight that the state of Michigan's budget process remains delayed. Just in case you all didn't know, and our legislative lobbyist rather is indicating that the state's fiscal 25-26 budget may not be finalized until around September this year, which is really delayed, and he's in the trenches, so he has high confidence that it's going to be really delayed. This delay will create uncertainty for counties' programs related to whether it's the court system, whether it's HCS, that rely on state appropriations beyond what the general fund supports. So we'll continue to monitor this ahead of our budget retreat and ensure that we prepare contingency plans for the board to consider. I know Commissioner Gisler isn't here, but we had a conversation about the Kalamazoo Conservation District's tire collection program. So I just wanted to highlight that for the community because we've been in touch with them because the board has supported a $5,000 operating expense for them going forward to assist with that tire collection program. So under this partnership, we're providing that $5,000 in operational support from the Office of Emergency Management to help offset some of the costs that are associated with that program. They've already held a tire collection event on June 10th. The next one is scheduled July 26th and then August 7th. So we'll have 3 this year. One's already occurred. And then in addition to collecting and disposing of tires, the Conservation District will report on the outcomes and participant engagement, and that will send out to the Board of Commissioners as well, so you have that information. The next topic I wanted to discuss was parking garage progress updates. So you'll be happy to note that we received the final design for the parking garage last Thursday for our new parking garage, a critical infrastructure component that supports this building and the Justice Center, and then also community public access. So Deputy Administrator Cole has been working hard and issued a request for proposals for a construction manager so that we're well ahead of the curve on that. And that's the next major milestone for the project. And then once that construction manager is selected, we'll finalize the construction schedule, share that with the board, and then key milestones as well with the board, including kind of the financing mechanisms that we will adopt and that we will recommend adopting, whether that's financing the project with cash, bonding it out, or a combination of both. So we're looking at strategic partnerships and financing around that. The next topic of interest, and this is one of the last 2 topics, is new opioid settlement agreements. This is something that'll come into the future, probably around September, because that's when the county board action is required. So we're expected to receive additional funds as part of 2 national opioid settlement agreements, the National Consortium in partnership with this, they call the Plaintiffs Executive Committee, has finalized new settlements with a group of manufacturers. And there's just a slew of them that one of them is, I think the most prominent is Sandoz. But the companies were not part of previous settlements. So these new settlement terms include $844 million in cash payments to state and local governments, and then $355 million in medications to treat opioid addiction and reverse overdoses. So Kalamazoo County would likely receive a part of that, and we don't know what that is yet. All of that, all the details are being finalized. The board would have to decide if they would want to enter into that settlement, and so that's the action that will be required in the future. So we'll have more information to share at a later date on that as well. And then lastly, a public service announcement regarding the Jamestown Canyon virus. So we wanted everyone to be advised that our Kalamazoo County Health and Community Services Department has confirmed the first positive detection of Jamestown Canyon virus in a mosquito pool this season. And the mosquito pool is mainly it's essentially a mechanism that we use to test for these sort of things. So JCV is spread through mosquito bites and can cause flu-like symptoms or, in rare cases, severe illness. So HCS encourages residents to use repellents, wear protective clothing, avoid peak mosquito hours, eliminate standing water, and use window screens to prevent bites. And mosquito surveillance will continue through September this year. That's all I have this evening, and happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to know, what time is peak mosquito hour?
Okay, yeah, so staff is saying from dusk to dawn, so mosquito peak hours, dusk to dawn.
Yeah, sort of like dusk and dawn, right? So, yeah, thank you. All right, Commissioner Ray, you want to lead us off?
Oh, sure. Don't have very many comments. I did receive the update about the medical debt and was excited about that. I do have a few questions related to the demographics. So I'll send you an email and then just want to say happy birthday. I hope you have fun.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Thanks, Chair. Great work, exciting things, even if it is a short night. We're doing very exciting things. Happy birthday, Dr. Catlin. That's all. Have a great week.
Thank you. Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Chair. Same sentiments. I won't sing to you, but happy birthday. Always good to spend another year with you and your amazing team. So thank you. To Chair Stribbs, don't apologize, even if we're sighing over here like, oh Lord, she's just right, opt-ed. But your sentiments to what's going on, when I saw the Vice President do the tiebreaker earlier today, it was very disheartening. And right now we don't feel the impact, but I just encourage folks to keep fighting, keep calling your representatives, because the privilege might not never feel it, but for those of us who depend on our parents receiving Medicaid, depend on our parents with low budget incomes, and ourselves, what we're going to look like in 20, 30 years. You never know when you're one step away from your last paycheck. So keep up the fight, and thank you for uplifting that, and good night.
Commissioner Mazer.
Just two items. Happy birthday, Doctor, and happy 4th of July, everyone.
Thank you. Commissioner DeLu.
Chair Stribbs, I always appreciate your comments, so no apology. To the administrator, thank you for the timely information on the debt relief. I just asked Chair Stribbs tonight, have you heard anything? And then okay, thank you. And I want to thank those who volunteered to be on the ad hoc committee for the housing millage. I really appreciate it. And I know you're all going to do a great job because that's where your passion is. And to Dr. Catlin, getting older is awesome, said no one ever. So it's not really a happy birthday. Darn, it's my birthday.
Good. All right. Thank you all for your work tonight. As we've finished it, we're adjourned.